Follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to like. The Gift is a horror short film I made about a paranormal Polaroid camera, which is written by Jason K. Allen. So thank you, Jason, for giving us the opportunity to have a story to tell. While I was reading the script, there's a certain moment, which is kind of a revealing moment in the story, which in my mind reminded me of two films that I wanted to combine certain visual effects from. So the first one is from Fight Club, where you see Tyler Durden throughout the film. He is spliced into the film, which he later shows how to splice film into film. So there's this moment where basically the character appears for a brief second. Now, that in combined with this other film, Shimaizaka, a Japanese film from the director Nobuhiko Obayashi, there's this moment in the film where the family is having a portrait taken, and it's very beautifully shot. I like how the light simulates a flash going off when a photo is being taken. So I wanted to combine both of that with the Fight Club film splicing scene to create the moment that you see in The Gift. That was kind of my opportunity as a cinematographer to visually demonstrate my skills. Okay, now speaking of being a cinematographer, the struggles of making a short film or just a film in general solo. It's primarily just me throughout the majority of this film. Most of you filmmakers who are starting out know what it's like. You have to do everything yourself. So let me go through the pain in the ass of making a film solo. I'm the producer, I'm the location scout, I'm the set designer, I'm the director, I'm the cinematographer, I'm the editor. I do the catering. And by catering, I don't mean like I ordered a pizza. I actually cooked for the crew, okay? I cooked up a lot of vegetables. I made some mashed cauliflower. I made salmon. I made chicken. I made the damn meal, okay? Everyone was well fed. That's the thing, too. If you're working on a short film, if it's something short, if you make something extremely short, like let's say you're making a 2-minute film, you could probably shoot that in about 4 hours if it's all in one location. So you might be able to get away with not having catering if it's a 4-hour day, because then everyone kind of just goes their own way after the end of the 4 hours. But this is a film that took, I don't know, 12 hours maybe, a single day, 12-hour day. So you have to make sure your crew is fed because people need to be fed. Your crew is going to hate you. Your cast is going to hate you. If you're there for 12 hours and there's not like a pause in the day where people can regain their energy. People need to be nourished. So make sure whether it's you cooking for people or you ordering out. The only reason why I actually cooked is because one of the actors on my set was vegan. So I had to cook a vegetable meal specifically for her. Other than that, I still wanted to cook for everybody else because I was already cooking. So I was like, might as well cook for everybody. But that was another struggle here, another obstacle for me to get through was making sure everyone was fed. The biggest and probably the most challenging thing as far as being a solo filmmaker is doing behind the scenes. I mean, right now, this BTS video is being made by me. I'm shooting everything, I'm editing everything. The only other kind of assistance I had was the makeup artist. She took a couple photos on set too, which I appreciate. So, yeah, if you have any help for behind the scenes, actually, too, because any of your cast and your crew, they might be taking photos, selfies or taking photos of each other. If that's the case, ask them if they can provide you the photos so you can use them for social media, IMDb, all that other stuff. That'll really help. And it's kind of a natural thing now because a lot of people are usually taking pictures of things they're doing, especially actors and crew members. So if you notice anybody on the set taking pictures, by the end of the set or by the end of the day, when you guys are all wrapped up, try to make it a point to ask them if they can send you the photos or if you could dump them there on the spot so you have material to work with later. Budget. How much did it cost to make this film? Let's go over the numbers. I actually have to pull this up right here. All right, so the total budget was $1,734.85. Now, the props, everything involved in the film, there was, let's see, what did we have for props? So there was a Polaroid camera, the Polaroid film, gift wrapping paper, a rotary phone, 70s Playboy magazines, wardrobe that I had to weather down for Barbara, and the RIT fabric dye. So those are all the props or the material needed to make the props. Crew, so with props, we're at about $235 roughly. It's $234.85. With the cast and crew combined, it is $1,300. And prepping the food or buying the food was about $200. Might have been more, but I'm just gonna kind of round it off about $200. The equipment cost me $0 because I own all of the equipment. So the equipment was an expense paid for way before this, but it's also equipment I use for other films and projects and commercial work and all that stuff. So what the rental fee would have been for all that, I don't know, because I don't normally rent out equipment. The location was also another big one because in one of my previous films, it was about $2,000 per day per location. So we spent, close to $8,000 on 2 locations for one short film. Luckily for this short film, I paid $0. And that's because as I was looking into locations, I was looking at another 2,000, close to $2,000 range for the location. And that would have been for 8 hours, which I knew I was going to need more time for. So I ended up using a location provided by a family member. So that saves me roughly at least between $1,500 to $2,000. $1,500 to $2,000. So I was really fortunate in being able to find a location that I could use for free. The only problem is that I could use this wall over here and put the couch lined up against the red brick here, and then that'll create more space, more distance between our protagonist here and the ghost girl. Now here's where the real problem comes in. So now I have to move all this furniture by myself because it's just me. This is what happens when you're a filmmaker and you have no crew. You have to do everything yourself. That's the plan. So now, as the set designer, this is my goal for right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this couch over here, and I gotta move this couch where this one is. Okay, we're done. We are done, at least for the heavy part. We got our couch in place here, and I brought both dressers back from the other room. That was exhausting. It would be great to have a second set of hands, but it is what it is. Anyways, now I just gotta decorate this wall right here, put all my 1970s vintage whatevers. I gotta basically get my posters set up here, but we have a lot of depth now between our subject and the appearance of our antagonist. And I believe this should be enough room right here for us as the camera operators to move around and get the shots that I want. As far as the equipment that we used, for the actual film itself, we used Canon R5Cs. Taking the Polaroid pictures, I used a Canon 5D SR, and we used some C-stands to hold up the tube lights. We had these NAN light tubes, they were very long. We also had some shorter NAN light tubes that we put underneath the dressers to give a little bit of underlighting on the characters' faces. But on the C-stand also, I used that same lighting stand to rig up the microphone, which I used a claw grip and 2 arms that attach to this claw to then attach to the microphone. So the C-stand was holding both the lighting and the microphone because I didn't have money for an audio person either. That's another position I took care of. I was the audio technician. Jeez, it's just thinking about it now, it's just like, why am I doing this to myself? So one of the other things that I had to do was the wardrobe. For the wardrobe, I used a serrated knife to create a lot of lacerations on the fabric itself. I had 2 pieces of fabric to choose from. I wasn't sure until the day of filming when I had my ghost girl on set which would look better. So I just wanted to prepare the both of them in case I needed one over the other. We ended up going with the white, but I got this kind of a pale blue just in case it looked better. So it's like you never know. I didn't need to buy 2, but I just wanted the option in case one didn't work out. Now I used a lot of Ritz fabric dye also to create the bloody effect that you see on the wardrobe. My makeup artist also added a lot more brutal looking blood to the existing blood patterns I had created. She did really well. I was really satisfied with the makeup artist and the work she put in. And the girls had a lot of fun doing the makeup. I wish there was a reaction I wish I would have recorded when Barbara finally sees herself in the makeup and she literally screamed so audibly loud. I'm sure the neighbors could have heard it. And that's a moment I regret not catching on camera. But I was in the room setting up the frames that needed to be shot. So I was not prepared. That's also why I really wish I had more budget on these films so I could actually hire a behind the scenes person to capture moments that when I'm busy, they would still be captured. But anyways, the girls had fun with the makeup. So I'm glad that the amount of fun they were having really made an impact on the horrifying appearance of Barbara when she was actually in the film. Okay, so this is how the production schedule is going to go down for the shoot day of The Gift. Here in the dining room, we are going to use it for two purposes simultaneously. The makeup for Barbara, which we'll be working with Noemi. So Noemi and Barbara will be here. This is the station we can use to get our ghost girl all ghosted up. And simultaneously, because we don't have a rehearsal day, we are also going to use this space to do the rehearsal. It's only 3 pages, so usually I do like to have a rehearsal before we actually get to the film day, but everyone's schedules are a little tight right now, so we will use the makeup preparation and the rehearsal kind of as a 2-in-1 setup. That time, I believe, should be enough for Barbara and Jack to get the cadence and chemistry down for the Rodney and girlfriend scene. As you guys are doing the makeup and rehearsal, I will be in the living room doing the first setup, which is going to be the actual Polaroid photos. We're gonna have to shoot the Polaroid photos first before we even do any narrative, the narrative part of the film, because we need those to be ready for us when we're actually filming the narrative part. So I'm gonna use the DSLR camera to take the photos, which I will then transfer onto actual Polaroid frames. This, we'll have to do 4 photos here. So we're gonna do Rodney here, and then Barbara in the back as she makes her first appearance. Then we're gonna need to do a second photo, the exact same photo, but without Barbara in it, because when Rodney looks back at the photo, she's going to no longer be in it. So we need the same exact photo twice where Rodney's pose is exactly the same, and only in one photo our ghost girl's in it, and in another photo our ghost girl disappears. Then we're gonna do the photo where Rodney occupies most of the Polaroid frame here, and in this photo we're gonna have Barbara's hands actually coming up here to be choking him. Our final photo will be when Rodney is actually being choked. Yeah, so our final photo will be where Rodney's here and Barbara's gonna be in the full mount position, basically choking him. So Barbara, you're gonna be just choking him to death, basically. After I shot the photos, which we used on set, I had to transfer them from the 5DSR onto Polaroid frames, and I used the Polaroid Lab to create that effect. The Polaroid Lab, if you don't know, is basically like a small printing machine. It's like a small printer. You load it up with Polaroid film and you load your photos onto your phone, which you then put onto the receiving end of the Polaroid Lab, and it spits out a Polaroid with the image you've provided on your phone. So what I had to do was I had to take the photos, which is why I wanted to set them up in a very specific order so that I could then transfer them to actual Polaroid frames. Now, it may seem like too many steps to just get these Polaroid films printed out. What you have to take into consideration, at least for me, is that I wanted these to be framed a very specific way. And when you're shooting with just the Polaroid itself, you can't really control the depth of field and the precise placement of the photo, which is why I wanted to shoot with the 5DSR so that I could be in total control of how the frames looked when they're printed on the Polaroid films. All right, we are done with The Gift. Filming has been completed. Now is the cleanup, because it is a freaking mess. You want to take a look? Let me take you around set here real quick. Yeah, so here we go. This is the workstation behind us where me and Henry were in the command station of the spaceship here. And here we have our set, and also got to clean up. The least fun thing to do is clean up, but I did also make food for everybody, so I'd have to wash these dishes and all that stuff too. But it was the production went well. Happy with how it's gone so far, and now we just got to get into post and see how our film came out. So that wraps it up here for behind the scenes. I really want to make more short films. However, it is very painful and expensive as an independent filmmaker. So I really have to figure out how I'm going to be able to afford my next film. But I hope I'm improving. I hope you guys enjoyed the film. I'm hoping to grow the audience here on this channel. If you've seen the film, what did you think of it? If you haven't seen it yet, I'll link it in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate you guys' time. Follow us on Twitter at Ghettoplex_MP4, on Instagram at Ghettoplex.mp4, and subscribe to us on YouTube at Ghettoplex.